Hi everyone, I'm Dan, based in the UK. I'm an artist, or somewhat of an artist. I'm planning on going on a bit of a journey, and I'm hoping that some of you are going to come on that with me. Well, I say you. At the moment, I'm talking to nobody whatsoever. I don't really have any followers, subscribers, no kind of following or anything like that whatsoever. I'm starting from a clean slate, right from ground zero. So it's going to be interesting where this journey takes me. Hopefully you guys will come along with me, and then we'll see what this journey looks like throughout 2026 and beyond. Who knows, maybe nobody will ever even see this until years down the line. Is it just going to sit there in the YouTube void? Who knows, but time will tell. All I'm planning to do now is just take a big step into the darkness, into the void, and hoping to find my way however I can. Now, to start with, I'm going to preface this by saying this is completely new to me. The equipment that I'm using is completely bare minimum, bare bones. You could even say some of this journey is, how am I going to do this on cheap and cheerful equipment? Very low, very bare minimum. I don't really have much. The PC I'm using, it was an awful PC 5 years ago. Now it's even worse. The same for I've got an XP pen drawing monitor. I've had it for about 7 years now, and it wasn't even a top of the range one back then. This is all going to be quite budget, quite bare minimum, bare bones, and just see where I get. Even this talking into a camera is completely new to me. And by the way, this is a phone. I don't have an expensive camera. You can probably tell the sound's awful because I don't have a separate mic. This is just the phone sound, and it's an older mobile. It's not even the mobile that I use. I'm really talking, but trying to throw things together here and just get something out there, make a start. The equipment that I'm using, very bare minimum, and even just talking into a camera, it's completely new, completely alien to me. This just feels strange doing it, so please just bear with me through it. Maybe in time some of this equipment can get upgraded, things will change. It's all part of the journey, part of the process. Even things like video editing, posting content, it's all quite new. You'll see this video, the production, it's all going to be raw, it's going to be frayed around the edges, it's going to be rough, but that's okay. We all have to start somewhere, and this journey starts now, and it starts here. Better late than never. I'll slowly learn and improve piece by piece. I'll get to see and document this improvement over time, and hopefully it'll become easier and quicker. The sooner the better, but it's all part of the process. And with that, maybe my methods will change, maybe my entire path is going to change. So let's just see where it goes. So before I talk about the journey part, I'll give you a bit of information on me, who I am, and the direction that I'm coming at this from. Hopefully it might resonate with some of you, and then you can understand where I'm coming at this from. And maybe it might help to motivate some of you and help you take these kind of first steps like what I'm doing here, and see what journey you can go on as well. So as for me, I've been creating art as a hobby and a passion for most of my life, but never to any real educational level. I've no degrees, no diplomas, nothing like that. I pretty much gave up before uni, never went to university, and I just went out into the world, just working basic jobs, living life. Unfortunately, art was shoved to one side until I was in my late 20s probably, when I decided to pick up a brush again. So with that, I started just painting canvases, fun things, doing little fun projects for friends and for family, things like that. I did manage to sell one or two little pieces, but nothing of much worth or monetary value. It was just fun stuff, if anything. Then around 7 years ago, I managed to get my hands on my first drawing tablet. I'd seen YouTube videos of people using them, completely alien to me, but I knew I wanted to have a crack at it. So I managed to get hold of one. I don't know, would you call it a drawing monitor, drawing tablet? This is definitely a monitor. XP pen, it's been fantastic for me. Really large thing, little buttons on the side for shortcuts and whatnot. But again, nothing like a top of the range, not a Wacom, nothing like that at all. This was just budget, what I could afford. And then having that monitor helped me completely transition my art. So then I started using Photoshop to create my art instead of paints and canvases, and the added cost of all these things and the mess that you had to clear up, the space that you had to use. So then the paints and the brushes and the mess moved to one side. Everything that I was doing was happening on Photoshop on this drawing monitor. And I do feel I'd have to say I found it easier and more fun doing things digitally and having the options that Photoshop gives you, doing all this digital work, and that helped me to sort of ramp up my artwork a little bit more. But I never really felt like I was actually doing enough. So one of the more popular things that I've focused on for several years is creating like personalized, fun, cartoony, caricature-y type artworks of people, group pictures of families that they would then have printed onto canvas or as prints or anything that they choose. And these have varied in styles over time, and I've found a small niche in sports and sports stars, mostly football, British Premier League, even some Champions League type football. But those footballers and those football teams, they've always been a good way of grabbing people's interest. And so with sports, particularly football was definitely a main focus. I varied styles quite a lot and started to focus on other things like movies and entertainment and music and things that people are passionate about. And I also placed quite a bit of focus on other styles, things like comic book art and pop art and like vector styles, things like that. And then hoping to sell prints, I posted on various platforms like Etsy, Redbubble, eBay, and then I would attempt to drive some interest myself by making posts on social media, trying to advertise things that way. And while I did make a few sales, they were very minimal and profits were quite minuscule really, you know, nothing much came from them whatsoever. And that naturally fed into a bit of insecurity and self-doubt, which then led to a lack of motivation for posting, and then unfortunately I found my hunger and my devotion dwindling down and fading away at times. And while I did feel it would be beneficial for me to sell prints that are easily duplicatable, is that a word? And the theory of that is that it would only require one piece of art to make numerous sales, it never really panned out well for me. And I soon found that the things that brought in the most amount of money were those personalised, bespoke artworks. However, they were so unbelievably time consuming, and the money I was charging was extremely low in comparison to the amount of time and effort that was going into creating them. But the problem I had was that charging more for them often resulted in potential customers walking away. And my logic was that either way I would be spending my time drawing and doing something for fun, so I may as well just grab whatever little bit of money I can get for it instead of nothing at all. And before you say it, I know it's a terrible logic and it just plays right into the buyer's hands. And us artists, we should always stay strong and understand and respect our own value and stay firm and never undercharge for our art. But that's easier said than done when there's people who love your art, but they just can't afford to part with that much money for it. And there is a side to you that likes the thought of knowing that your art is in someone's home, it's being appreciated somewhere, and that in itself is like payment, but it doesn't put food on the table. But if you can point me in the direction of some millionaires and billionaires who are happy to just throw money at me for my artwork, please do it. But I've never come across any. I guess they aren't shopping on eBay and Etsy, or paying attention to Facebook or Instagram as a place to focus on getting their artwork. So in general, I'd sell bits and pieces through like Facebook and the local groups and on word of mouth. And I've tried selling bits and pieces through eBay and Etsy, little sales, but I've never really found any consistency with that. Nothing that could lead me to building anything big or a following or anything of that ilk. This term of you've got to feed the algorithm, it's not something that I've ever really managed to harness. And now years have gone by, I'm married, I've got a kid, and I'm still grinding away in a basic 9 to 5. No particular career prospects in sight, and no real love for the line of work that I'm in. I'm pretty much just going with the flow and hoping that something miraculously appears in front of me. But so much time has gone by and now here I am. Unfortunately, I've just never found my funk. I never really knew what I wanted to do. I always knew that I liked to draw and create and that I had a passion for that. But I was never really able to envisage specifically what I was gonna be, and that's what's led me here. Always having that feeling that something eventually is gonna fall into place for me. Honestly, I can't even tell you the level of envy that I've always had for those people who, right from the get-go, they just knew what they were gonna do and what they were gonna be. They almost had a calling and they knew exactly what path they were going to take. Like, I'm going to be a vet, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a lawyer, I'm going to be an engineer. They just knew back in school exactly how it was going to plan and which direction they were going to go. I just never had that, never felt that. I know I always knew I liked to draw and craft and create, but I had no idea about any direction or a specific role. And it's led me to this place where I almost feel stuck and facing a lifetime of 9 to 5 misery, while the taxman just wrings me dry. But I refuse to accept that it's too late for me. And yeah, I might be in a bit of a bad spot with this at the moment, later in life, somewhat, and it's gonna be challenging. I do have responsibilities, but I refuse to accept that it's too late for me. I have responsibilities, a job, a life, and there isn't any option for me to just drop everything and take up art full time. Where would the money come from? So that brings me to this journey, the point where I have to draw a line and just push myself and stop with the half-hearted and useless efforts that fade away within a matter of weeks. And when I imagine a future that doesn't involve me being unhappy or unsatisfied every day for the rest of my life, slaving away and getting paid just enough to get by and living just to work, the only thing I've ever really felt truly passionate about is art. And that's drawing, creating, cutting, sticking, making, gluing, painting, you name it. all that lovely, fun, juicy, crafty stuff. But there's been plenty of times where I've felt just like this, and I've psyched myself up and I've told myself that I'm gonna do it, this is the time, and then I will post regularly and I will feed the algorithm, and I'll be doing it. I'll be hitting Instagram and hitting Facebook and even TikTok. I've even posted a couple of videos on YouTube here and there. But then as the day-to-day slog takes over, the hunger kind of fades away, and my posts are only receiving a handful of likes at best, usually from the same old family members. You know who you are. And then you hit the wall. I find myself in the same old rut. The hunger and the desire dissipates again, and busy life is happening and time is just hard to come by. So I'm creating less and less and less until I'm right back where I started, and the cycle just repeats. So this has to be the time. If I'm ever gonna make anything happen, it has to be now, and it has to be different from before. And I'm thinking similar to like goal setting or almost like diet planning. There needs to be aims and direction in place, and most of all, accountability. The whole point of goals and targets is to set something in place to aim for, and by getting it out of your head and actually writing it down or telling someone, that is what makes it reality. Just keeping it to myself in my head means that only I know about it, and that makes it easy to walk away from. But saying it out loud or putting it in writing, that's different. That's where it becomes almost like a contract with the universe, and then it has to be done. No going back on it. It's been witnessed and seen and heard, and now you follow through. And what better way of doing that than by telling you, the internet. You know, I saw a video on YouTube a few months ago, I think, and it was a guy in the US. Obviously I'm in the UK, but that makes no difference. So he was similar in age to me, and he talked about needing to make a change and needing to push and needing to pursue that creative art side to him and really make it work before time runs out. And there were so many similarities between his situation and mine, and so much of what he talked about just resonated with me so much, and it really lit a fire under me. And that's what really kickstarted this idea, this motivation of wanting to do this as a journey and document it on YouTube, to use it as a platform to maybe build some sort of following or community, and best of all, to keep me true and to keep me accountable. And it doesn't just end with YouTube videos. I love the idea of live streaming, where I'll get to sit for hours on end creating, and you'll get to watch and involve yourselves. And I mean, I'm a big fan of watching artists on Twitch myself anyway, and I especially love the sort of that community aspect of it. I just feel like live streaming and getting people involved, that's going to play a big part in building this community that I was talking about. And I do feel that community is what's going to help me stay accountable and keep me coming back for more, to make more videos, make more artworks, keep creating, keep those juices flowing. It'll give me the added reason to get back online and back on stream and to create another video and another, and so on. Now, one of the things, the other guy that I mentioned, he was targeting himself strictly to become a professional artist within 12 months. Yeah, 1 year. Now, I've thought long and hard about that, about putting a similar goal in place for me. But the key thing about targets is they have to be achievable and realistic. If they're not achievable and realistic, and you fail to hit them, your motivation is going to be crushed. and you're pretty much setting yourself up to fail completely. And I just don't feel that that 1 year to become a professional artist is realistic for me, for my situation. Definitely not to become a professional full-time artist within a year. No, that's not for me. No way is that realistic for me to quit my day-to-day job and let art take over as my full-time income. Now, the dream for me is absolutely for me to have my art become so popular and desired that it will take over and become my full-time occupation. I'd love to be able to give up that 9-to-5 grind and become my own boss and find success in my art. But I'm also very aware that that is a slow process. And again, back to the other guy, I think it's Dynamic Pencils, he's called, the other YouTuber that I mentioned. And he's awesome, by the way. Go check him out. He's got loads of great videos and great content already, and it's all really motivational. And so he's already got somewhat of a following and a community that he's built over however many years. And he's likely got avenues for receiving commissions and loads of people commenting and pushing his content and some sort of pipeline. And so his 1 year goal might be way more achievable for him than that is for me, if that makes sense. Whereas I'm starting right at the beginning. I'm at day one. And it's going to be such a slow process for me, but it's a process that I'm so excited for. And now there's definitely going to be challenges that will get in the way and that will trip me up along the way. As I said, I'm a guy with a full-time job, working 9-to-5, with a family, with a kid, with dependencies, with responsibilities. There's birthdays, there's holidays, there's everything that comes in between. And clearly all good intentions can be thrown completely out of whack. No matter how well you plan, there can be obstacles. And keeping a solid structure and timeline like his is maybe not so achievable for me. For example, committing to live streaming at a specific time on a specific day every week, blah blah blah. It's just not going to be achievable for me. It's just not something that I feel I would be able to commit to, at least not right away. All I can do is try, and I definitely will try. But these are the kinds of things that I'll only really find out along the way as I progress that path. I won't know what obstacles I'm going to hit until I hit them, or at least until I can see them. So I'm going to be learning on the job, and I'll just learn by doing. And with things like this, the best advice that comes to mind is Bruce Lee, where he famously said, I'll shorten it right down, be water. And what he means by that is you have to move and flow around your opponent. You can't maintain too much of a solid structure. You have to be fluid and be able to make your way around any obstacle that gets in your way. So that's what I'll do. I'll keep trying. I'll try to flow like water and navigate that path that's in front of me. So back to the target thing that I was talking about. I have thought hard about what I feel is actually achievable for me. And to avoid putting a lengthy, 3 to 5 year plan in place, that seems pretty pointless. I think a more achievable goal for me to say is that by the end of 2026, I will have made art a stable and solid side hustle for myself. And don't get me wrong, anything more than that will be an absolute bonus. But I do believe it is a realistic and achievable goal for me. 1 year, art is a solid side hustle. And by that, I really mean I'll be receiving orders and pushing out regular commissions and somehow be making a small to medium income stream using my art. and hopefully selling like art prints through online stores like eBay, Etsy, things like that. I don't know, we'll see. In fact, I'll even go a little step further and throw in a few extras. So as well as achieving that goal of making art a solid side hustle by the end of 2026, I also want to be able to say that I'll be in the process of building an online community. My social media presence will be growing, and I'll be seeing improvements in my own abilities to create content and create these videos, etc. And I'll be seeing improvements in my own abilities to create worthwhile content, videos like this, I don't know, social media posts, whatever it may be. Oh, and of course, talking to a camera in a quiet room. Now, I know there hasn't been much mention of social media and those aspects. I just feel like that's maybe a bit of a byproduct or a little bit of a side thing to what I'm really trying to do here. So I am going to be seeking advice and maybe help and guidance when it comes to social media and regular posting and all that algorithm. But that doesn't really impact this YouTube thing right here, right now. And maybe I'll make more videos addressing that somewhere in the future. I don't know. But for now, it's not really relevant to this. So, I think I've done it. I'm feeling pretty comfortable with that. Making art as a solid side hustle in 12 months. So say by the time 2027 comes around. I'm feeling good, feeling pumped. So I think I've rambled on about this for long enough now. I've got my target in place, and the next step is to just start creating art, start posting, and start creating more content for you. So now that my rambling's done, I can't thank you enough for listening to me, hearing me droning on, and I sincerely hope you'll join me on my journey so you can witness and you can be a part of it with me, seeing the changes and improvements over time, helping me grow and building an exciting channel. So maybe I'll see you on the live stream, see you in the comments. Either way, I'll be back here to update you on plans and steps that I'm going to be taking. So until then, thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of this. I hope you'll come on this journey with me, and I'll see you soon.